Hi, and welcome everybody to another edition of the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Podcast. I'm professional sports handicapper Ross Benjamin. As always, on a weekly basis, I'm joined by fellow professional sports handicapper extraordinaire, Mr. Chip Chirimbus of ChipWins.com. Chip, how are you, buddy?
Just wonderful, Ross. It seemed the beat goes on here. We got college basketball day in and day out. Loving it each and every day.
Yeah, it's that time of year. I mean, it's that when Saturday college basketball cards from now until the end of February, at least, we're going to be looking at well over 100 games per week on a Saturday. And if you can't find value as a professional sports handicapper on Saturday college basketball, you need to find another business to work in. As in any event, Chip, this is where the cream rises to the crop, right? We talked off air. Some of these teams get off the fast starts, I should say, against weaker competition. And then once they get into conference play, especially major conference play, they show that their start was misleading and vice versa. There might have been some teams that got knocked off early on or played a real tough schedule and come into conference play with 4 or 5 non-conference losses, but are better than the record indicates. Your take?
Well, it also goes the other way. We have teams that are undefeated that haven't been on the road yet, and they're sitting taking out their first game on the road, and they get ambushed by teams that have played a tough schedule. We had mentioned Oklahoma State having lost like 3-4 quality teams. I think they're 8-5 coming into Saturday. We discussed their game earlier today, and so there's ways to look at it. Like we said earlier, you can look for those big winners all of a sudden to come out and take to the road. They're 9-0, 12-0, and all of a sudden, bam, they get lambasted. We had it this past week. You and I both won a couple of games like that.
Yes. Where
undefeated teams were underdogs on the road or favored on the road, and they got beat outright. So, it takes a keen eye a sharp eye to stay on top of these numbers and these lines, because some of them are a little deceiving, and your history and see what the resume of each one of these teams is. I think we seem to do pretty well with it.
Yes, we do. So we each have a college basketball free pick for you on Saturday's card. Keep in mind, folks, we are recording on Friday, the 7th of January. These lines just came out about 30 minutes ago. So it was a 2-minute handicap, as we like to call it in the business. But if you're going to pick 2 guys that could pick winners for you in 2 minutes, our chances are much better than most. Okay, so having said that, Chipper, what do you got for us on Saturday?
Well, first of all, Ross, I'd like to mention that I actually put a lot of time and work into it before the lines come out, so that I'm a little prepared to see, and I can recognize an anomaly or something I see that's a little out of the ordinary, shall we say. But I've got a great matchup in the SEC, and it really doesn't seem to matter whether they're on the gridiron playing football, whether they're playing baseball in Omaha, Nebraska. Now they're in the cages. LSU is hosting Tennessee. Now, LSU is coming off this big win over Kentucky. 5 points. They were 3-point favorites, 2.5-point favorites, up and down the game, but they closed with a flurry and won and covered. Tennessee, meanwhile, 16-point favorite on the road against Mississippi, and they go overtime and win by 6. And they had to make 3 3-pointers in the last minute and a half to send the game into overtime. But that's not the way we're going to go here, Ross. What these teams do, both these teams excel at, is playing defense. LSU, number 1 against the 2-point field goal attempt in the nation, 34.7%. Tennessee, 27th in the nation, allowing only 60 points overall per game. And even better, the LSU Tigers only allow 55.6. I think the way to go is to play this game under the total. And when you look at the Volunteers and see that their 3-point shooting is among the some of the worst in college basketball, ranked 252, Ross, among the 300-something clubs that are out there, they're only shooting 32% from 3-point range. I think this game sets right up with 2 great defensive teams going head-to-head with each other. And by the way, LSU's 3-point defense is one of the best in the nation as well at 26%. So it just, all the numbers come in one-sided. I can't ignore them. I usually like to play, be the devil's advocate and think about going the other way with stuff like this. But this is too strong. This is too overwhelming. And these 2 teams, I think, being conference foes, are early in conference, are going to be playing really tough defense head-to-head. I think every possession is going to be valuable. I look for this game to go under the total, Ross.
I agree with you. I'm looking for this game to play out in the low 60s, high 50s. That's how good defensively both of these teams are. Plus, they know each other. Plus, it's a conference battle. And, Chip's rattling off these statistics in terms of what a team is, like number 26, number 1, for example, and field goal percentage defense on 2-pointers, which I believe LSU is. You said?
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Yes.
And as opposed to college football with 130 Division I teams, keep in mind, folks, there's 357 teams playing Division I basketball, and Chipper just isolated a statistic there where a team is number 1 out of those 357 teams on 2-point defense, and it's not like they're playing cream puffs. So I'm going to take a look at number 11. By the way, we didn't give you a number on that. We're going to Chip's going to go with Tennessee LSU under 133.5. for his free play on Saturday, January 8th. I'm going to take a look at number 11, Iowa State, who will travel to Norman, Oklahoma, to take on the Oklahoma Sooners. You can make a strong case, Chip. I believe that Iowa State is probably the biggest surprise in the country right now. I don't think anybody would have guessed they'd be 13-1 at this juncture and ranked number 11 in the country. However, they're playing an unranked Oklahoma team. And I know they're on the road, but Oklahoma is a 5-point favorite in this situation. The sports books, the odds makers, whatever way you want to look at it, they are begging you to take the road underdog and the highly ranked road underdog at that against the ranked team. Oklahoma 11-3. They're coming off that loss earlier this week at number 1 Baylor. A game they lost by 10. They were plus 11 and covered. But, that game was much closer than the final score would indicate. A lot of that big difference came near the end when Oklahoma was down 4 to 6 points, and they had to try to extend the game and continue to foul. But they gave Baylor, number 1 in the country, on their home floor, all they can handle. And I think they'll do the same thing here. I mean, this is an Oklahoma team that holds opponents to less than 40% shooting. They share the ball very well, good defensively, solid offensively. And there certainly will be sky high to play this game against the number 11 team in the country at home. I am going to take the Oklahoma Sooners and lay the 5 against number 11, the number 11 team in the country in Iowa State. So, Chipper, anything else you want to add?
No, I just, Ross, I'm enjoying doing this every week. I'm excited that we're doing college basketball. Sorry to see the college football season end. Finished going 8-0 on the year with my called games of the year in college football. Going to use Alabama and Georgia as a game of the year. Going to end up the season 9-0. It's already posted out there everywhere. I don't care where you go to get it. Just bet it and win and collect, because this game is solid. And Ross, here we are. We got more in front and more to go in the NBA as well.
Yeah, a lot of college basketball. Myself and Chip will be taping every Thursday evening for our NBA show, which will cover games on the following Friday. And like tonight, we'll be taping in college basketball on Friday evening for the Mammoth Cards coming up over the next 2 months in college basketball. I have gone 85-53 with my last 138 in college basketball with my top plays. My dime players who have followed me with those top plays that date back to 2018, they're up over 21 grand, 20-14, modest run in college basketball right now, somewhere around 59%. And again, folks, I will have a 10-star top play in college football on the national championship game on Monday. You could find all of my picks, my subscription plans at rbwins.com. You could also find Chip at chipwins.com. Until the next time, for Chip Chirimbus and Ross Benjamin, thank you for joining us, folks. Good luck, God bless, and take care.